Hello there YouTube. I think it's time you got to know me a bit better, and one of the main things in my life that I deal with every day is my diabetes. So I thought this would be a good video to show you what diabetes is, like my diagnosis story and how it affects my life. So yeah, let's do this. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease. What it does is it attacks the cells in my pancreas that create insulin. Now insulin regulates your blood sugars, basically what makes your muscles work and your heart go, and it kills them. Therefore my pancreas doesn't create any, which means I have to inject myself with insulin 3 times a day in order to give myself this artificial insulin to control my blood sugar levels. There are 2 types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. I was diagnosed with type 1, which means it has no reason for developing, it's unknown. It's not because I was obese or was overweight or anything, it just occurred. Now for my diagnosis story. It was in April 2007. I had just gotten back from a holiday in Mexico, which was an awesome holiday. And at the end of that holiday I started feeling pretty sick. Like I couldn't eat, I was thirsty all the time. I remember leaving on the plane and just looking down at the water and just wanting to jump out of the plane and swim in the water and like drink the water. I had like really weird thoughts of just being thirsty all the time. I was really tired, I was losing lots of weight. I think I lost 2 stone in a week and a half. So yeah, I could feel that pretty much. I would also go to the bathroom quite a lot because I was drinking so much. Like I'd have like a big carton of orange juice in one go. I just would not stop feeling thirsty. It was also around the time of my exams. So it actually happened just after my math exam, which was great because I missed my other exams and got like automatic results, and most of them were much better than I would ever get in that subject anyway. So I was walking home from school and I remember seeing my mum outside. We actually discussed this a few days ago, like we looked online at the possible symptoms and perhaps I had diabetes, we weren't too sure, but she was waiting outside my house and we went straight to the hospital and my blood sugar levels were something like 7 or 8 times what they should have been, and so it was pretty clear straight away that this was something I was diagnosed with and had to deal with right at that second. So 2 drips were put in my arms, one in this arm and one in this arm. This one was actually never used, it was like a spare one they just put in. But I was then put into hospital and given an insulin drip so it could control my levels. And over the next few days I was taught how to inject myself, what it would be on my life, like what kind of effect this would have on my life, how many times I should be checking my blood sugar levels, what I should be eating, what I shouldn't be eating, just the basics really. So here are a few things I have to do every day. I normally test my blood sugars 4 or 5 times a day, and to do this I have a meter and these little strips, they go inside the meter, and then you have like a little needle inside and it gets the blood out of your finger. I give myself 3 injections a day, 1 before breakfast, 1 before dinner, and then 1 before I go to bed. And I use these pens, so breakfast, dinner, and bed. I used to absolutely hate injections before diabetes, but I have to do 3 a day, and if I do a rough calculation, 3 a day, which is about maybe 1,200 a year, something like that, 1,100 a year. I've had it since April 2007, which is 6 years, so that's almost like 6,000, just over 7,000 injections I've done. So I don't really mind them anymore, but before having a blood test or having any kind of needle in me was a horrible thought. So living with diabetes can be easy some days, it can be very difficult some days. Sometimes it just gets on top of you and you start thinking, you know, why me, and this is just too much for me and I don't want to do this anymore, before realizing that, well, no matter how much you complain or how much you don't want to be in the situation you are in, you cannot do anything about it. So you just have to get on with life really and still go and conquer the goals you set for yourself, because it doesn't really stop you in anything. You can go and do what you want to do. Maybe it has like an obstacle in the way of something, but it doesn't really, there's not really a no, not like a stop sign in front of anything. You can still do what you want to do, and that's kind of what I want to get out to people who have just been diagnosed, because when I was just diagnosed, I thought maybe I couldn't do sport anymore, I wouldn't be able to travel, traveling would become difficult, but it doesn't. It really is, it's like a little test you have to do every day. It's just something, an extra thing you have to think about. But if you are in control of it, if you stay on top of everything and don't let anything get out of hand, and make sure you're healthy and you exercise and you eat well, then you can do whatever you want. And that's kind of what I want to say, is if you are diabetic, if you're just diabetic, if you've had diabetes for 25 years, I've had diabetes now for 6 years, and I have it for the rest of my life. So another 10 times this, so 60 years. Yeah, it's a long time, but it doesn't matter, because it shouldn't affect you. And if you stay on top of it, if you control it, nothing will go wrong, nothing bad will happen, because you've controlled it. And that's kind of the message, I've said it a lot, but that's the message I want to get out, is that no matter what, you can do whatever you want to do. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any ideas for videos you want me to do, just leave them in the comments below. I've always kind of looked through and I'll find something. But yeah, see ya.